Trauma explains behavior. It does not excuse behavior. Let's take a moment to unpack that statement because it's important in understanding why you may respond the way you do, while also recognizing where change and accountability come into play. When we talk about trauma, we're referring to deeply distressing or disturbing experiences that impact us on a profound level. Trauma can shape the way we perceive the world, interact with others, and respond to certain situations. It often creates patterns of behavior that, on the surface, may not make sense to others, but are deeply rooted in past experiences. For example, if someone has grown up in an environment where they constantly felt unsafe or threatened, they may develop behaviors intended to protect themselves. This could manifest as defensiveness, hypervigilance, or even aggression. They might lash out in situations that remind them of past threats, even when those situations are relatively harmless. In that sense, trauma explains why they react this way. Their behavior is a learned response that developed to help them survive. However, while trauma helps explain why someone behaves the way they do, it does not mean that behavior is acceptable or without consequences. This is where we draw the line between explanation and excuse. An explanation helps us understand and gain insight into the reasons behind a behavior. It's an acknowledgement that there is a deeper issue at play, a history that has contributed to certain reactions. Excusing behavior, on the other hand, would mean allowing it to continue without addressing the harm it may cause to oneself or others. Let's look at an example. Imagine someone who has experienced a lot of rejection in their life. They may have developed a fear of abandonment, and as a result, they might act out or become possessive in their relationships. Understanding that this behavior stems from their trauma helps to shed light on their fears, but it doesn't make it okay to control or manipulate others. Acknowledging trauma gives us empathy for the person's struggle, but it doesn't mean we should turn a blind eye to harmful behavior. That behavior still needs to be addressed, and ultimately it's up to the individual to work towards changing it. As a counselor, my role is to help you see how your past experiences might be affecting your current behaviors. Together, we can explore the roots of those actions and reactions, bringing awareness to patterns you may not have noticed before. It's not about blame or shame, it's about understanding. But with that understanding comes a responsibility to heal, to make conscious choices, and to recognize when your actions are causing harm, even if they stem from a place of pain. It can be challenging to confront this reality, especially if you've carried these behaviors for a long time. But the goal is to move from a place of reaction to a place of intentional action. Healing from trauma doesn't mean forgetting what happened or pretending it didn't impact you. Instead, it means acknowledging its effects, working through the pain, and gradually learning new ways to respond that are healthier for you and those around you. I want you to know that acknowledging your trauma doesn't mean you're making excuses for your behavior. On the contrary, it's the first step towards change. It takes courage to face your past, and even more, to work on changing ingrained behaviors. But the effort is worth it. The more you understand yourself and your triggers, the more you can work on creating new responses that align with the person you want to be, rather than the person your trauma has shaped you to be. In our work together, we can explore these patterns safely, without judgment, and find ways to develop healthier coping mechanisms. You are not defined by your trauma, but your healing and growth begin with understanding how it has affected you. By taking accountability for your actions and choosing to work through them, you give yourself the chance to live a life that is not dictated by past pain, but driven by hope and resilience.